All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Lions Live. We are going to do something a little fun today. We are, kind of getting closer to that time of the year where the 2026 NFL Draft is not far away, and the NFL Combine is just a few weeks away. At the end of the month, we are going to be, and the rest of our A to Z Sports team, and we're going to be right down in Indianapolis with boots on the ground, getting to learn all that we can about some of these new prospects that are going to be coming into the draft. We'll have a ton of information. I do want to answer this question real quick because I keep getting asked it a lot. When are the Lions going to have a press conference for Drew Petzing? And the answer is I don't know when they're going to do one where you guys will be able to watch it, but I do know that we're going to talk to him at the Combine. That's the plan already. That's what we did last year with John Morton and Kelvin Shepard. And I would imagine that we're also going to get a chance to talk to Mike Kafka there as well. I think the first time you guys will probably hear from them might be during OTAs, which will be kind of, closer to the draft. So that's to answer that question. But today what we're going to do is we're going to do a live mock draft right here in front of everybody. We're going to peel the curtain back. We're going to look at stuff. We're going to talk about it together. We're going to come up with ideas on who the Lions should pick. We're going to do this all as a group, and we're going to look over trade offers, and we're going to make these decisions together. Right now, you can look at me as the general manager, and you guys are the assistant general managers. And we're going to, I'm not going to make a move unless I see some people talk to me about it. So without further ado, we'll jump right into it. I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to pick the Pro Football Network, the Pro Football Sports Network. We're going to use their mock draft simulator, which was made by a good friend of mine, Kent Lee Platt, who you may remember from Pride of Detroit, or way back if you remember the sideline report days with me and Kent and Jeff Risden, and we had a hell of a crew there. But he made this here mock draft simulator. I think it's the best one out there. Let's jump into it. So we're going to pick the Lions. Going to go 7 rounds. And we're going to enter a solo draft. And here we go. Let's see what happens. So as expected, Fernando Mendoza is the first pick in the draft. No shocker there. That's what everybody knew would happen. David Bailey, who's kind of been the favorite edge rusher for everyone, he's gone. And looks like Spencer Fano. Let's hide this for just a second here. I want to take a look because obviously coming into this draft, we know that the Lions need tackle help. We probably won't look at centers today. Maybe we will. We'll see what happens. But I think that this team's probably going to be more geared towards finding that center in in free agency or via trade. So let's look at who was taken off the board in terms of tackles. So there's Mauigoa from Miami. He went first. We got Caleb Lomu and Spencer Fanosa. Both Utah tackles are off the board now. So we get to 17, and we've got some things to discuss here. So let me just kind of put in my 2 cents, and this is what I'm thinking about. So first off, you've got Caden Proctor, who I think is a phenomenal tackle for the Lions. I look at him in the situation. He can come into Detroit. You move Penei Sewell over to the left side. You have Proctor play the right tackle position. And, I think that is something that really fits. I think Proctor's athleticism could really – it matches Sewell's to a degree. He's not exactly Penei Sewell. And if you're expecting that, you're crazy. But – he has a similar athleticism. I think that he could potentially be that same kind of player. So I like that pick. Let's look at who else is available at tackle. See, here's the thing that we kind of realized during the Senior Bowl and during the whole All-Star weekends and all that is that this tackle class is a lot deeper than we really thought it was going to be. So maybe taking a tackle at 17 might not be the thing that we need to do here at this position. But there's also other guys like Monroe Freeling, Maxi Inactor, Blake Miller, Isaiah World, Jennings Dunker, who is a guy who I really like, who could possibly be at 50. So there's options for the tackle spot later. We don't have to necessarily do it right here. And then I know everybody wants an edge, and I think there's some really good guys that we can get at 17 right now. Akeem Messidor, TJ Parker, they have him at 35. I think he's going to go much higher, especially after the combine. R. Mason Thomas, Cassius Howell, Zion Young. So there's some options for edge rushers that are going to be there in the second round as well. So at this point, we do have a trade offer on the table from the Kansas City Chiefs. They are going to offer the 40th pick, the 74th pick, the 109th pick, their second round pick next year, and their fourth round pick next year. And, as tempting as it might be to trade down, that's a bit far. I mean, you're trading out of the first round at this point. You're going to have 2 second round picks. Now you will have a third, and you get this 109th pick in the fourth, and you're kind of stacked for next year. You got two second round picks in next year's draft, 2 fourth round picks in next year's draft. I mean, it's tempting, I'm interested in what do you guys think? Should I take this trade? I mean, I don't hate it. I think taking it makes things a little bit more interesting for our purposes today. Maybe we'll do a second one where we don't do trades or I don't know, but trading out of the first and having 2 second round picks. I think if we did this, we stack up extra picks and we could still get a solid edge rusher and still get a solid tackle. We can't really trade much beyond that. But if you stick at 17, you can get one of the better players in the draft. So that's what I'm thinking. You guys got a few minutes here, just a minute. Let's go with 30 seconds. 30 seconds on the clock before somebody lets me know whether or not I should take this trade, and then I'm just going to make a decision on my own. We'll see what we do. But I think I'm not going to take it. I think I'm going to stick with the. I'm going to decline the Kansas City Chiefs. Very nice offer. I'm going to go ahead and decline it. I'm going to stick at 17. And then I think the best way to go right now is taking an edge. I really think TJ Parker is the best way to go because theoretically, at 50, you could still get Blake Miller, Isaiah World, Jennings Dunker. Those guys are all solid right tackles who can come right in and start. But, if you guys think we should maybe go tackle first, let's see what we got. Take second round edge, tackle second round edge first round. That's what we've got from Envision 95 from YouTube. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and take an edge right here in the first round. I am going to select. Hold on, we'll do this all. We'll do this. We'll do this official leg here. With the 17th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select TJ Parker, edge, Clemson. There you go. Parker is on the board for the Detroit Lions. I think that is a phenomenal edge rusher, a guy who can be that man across from Aiden Hutchinson. I think these guys can do damage together. He's a really good He's got good bend. He's got great power. I mean, this guy can absolutely push a guy. This is the kind of guy who's going to push a tackle into a quarterback. And that's his version of a sack. Like, he just has so much power and so much speed rush coming out. I just really like what he's able to bring. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if after the combine, if he has a really solid combine, if he winds up going even higher. So we'll see what happens there. So now we are at the 50th pick. The Bengals are offering the 72nd pick and a second round pick for next year. Let's see what else we got on the board. The Packers want to give us the 52nd pick and next year's third, but that would cost a fourth round pick, or a fifth round pick rather. And I don't think that, as tempting as it is to try to stack up draft stuff for next year, I really don't think that's the way that it should go. So I'm going to go ahead and decline both of these trades. I think this is probably the best thing that we could do. Just sorry, Green Bay, sorry, Cincinnati, whoever you guys wanted, you're not going to be able to move up and get him. Now, we talked about tackle already, and right now you're looking at Blake Miller, you're looking at Isaiah World, and you're looking at Jennings Dunker. Now, I see Dunker here at 71. This is a guy I think is going to rise above both Miller and World once the combines and pro days are done. I think that this guy is absolutely going to be a second-round draft pick. But I'm certainly open to Blake Miller. I think that's a possibility. I just like Dunker's fit for Detroit more, just because he's kind of that. I don't know. He looks like a dude from 1985, and he gives off like Ratledge vibes. Southern farm boy dude who just like blocks dudes. I just think he has the attitude. He has the play style. Really good run blocker. I think, but Miller obviously brings some good stuff to the table as well. I'm open to really going either way here. Kind of interested to see what some of the people are saying, if any of the people are saying anything. Let's see here. Yeah, so I think that with this pick, hold on. I do want to look real quick. I'm not saying I'm going to say no to a tackle or anything, but I am curious as to what else is out there, just real quick. Because a cornerback or a safety is not something I would hate, but tackle's got to, let's play it safe. Let's not get too cute. We're going to select with the 50th pick to the 2026 NFL draft. The Detroit Lions select Jennings Dunker, tackle, Iowa. There you go. Dunker is on the board for the Detroit Lions. Let's see. Now we've got a little bit of a trip here. We got to go all the way down to the 118th pick, and that's going to take some time. So maybe a trade down. If anybody would have offered a trade down, that would have put the Lions in the 20s, and then maybe got them in the 70s as well. Like, I would have totally done something like that, but nobody offered that. And I don't know if you've tried to make a trade on this mock draft simulator before, but it is not easy. They definitely built it in a way that makes it super, super hard. So yeah, we got bring Mullet Man Dunker home. We got they'll have two guys with mullets here at this point. All right. Should have took Proctor. Should have took Proctor from Penn State, or Proctor and Danny from Penn State. I liked Proctor. I mean, I wasn't totally against that idea. I just oh my god. For anybody who's wondering if I was how big of a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan I am, well, there you go. Oh shit! I answered it. My bad. Whoever that is, I'll talk to him later. All right, so we're getting an offer here, trade offer from the Chicago Bears. They want to trade the 129th and the 163rd pick to move up to 118. So let's hide it for a quick. second here and just kind of see. Let's take a step back and look at the board, kind of see what's out there before we make a decision. I think some positions at this point that the Lions could really use. I like a cornerback. I like a safety. I even like a linebacker. The possibility that Alex Anzalone being back in Detroit next year is not very high. He's probably not going to be here. So we'll kind of assume that that's not going to happen, and let's just kind of take a look. Quarterback is another thing that I would be interested in. I like Garrett Nussmeier. I think that there's possibilities with him. The Lions are going to need a backup quarterback this year because we don't know if Kyle Allen's coming back at this point. So that's an idea. Let's see. A defensive tackle in the middle, wouldn't hurt. Certainly wouldn't be opposed to that. I mean, I'm not even opposed to doubling up on an edge and grabbing another guy. But I think at this point, the smartest thing to do is you got to grab another safety. And right now we're sitting here with the 118th pick, and Jelon Kilgore from South Carolina is still there. He's somebody who is probably going to go earlier than this. I'm going to take him. With the 118th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Jelon Kilgore, safety, South Carolina. The reason I think you got to go safety at this point, and this is not me saying that I think Kirby Joseph's never going to play again and all that. If you've paid any attention to me, you know how I feel about all those those things. I do not think his career is suddenly over. I want to pause the draft for just a sec. I do not think Kirby Joseph's career is over. The only news that we've had, the only actual insider news that we've had on Kirby Joseph is that it's not career altering. So, is it something that is going to maybe not heal? I don't know. That's what Kirby says, is that there's no surgery to fix it, but that doesn't mean that it's just over. It's just over right now. Goodbye. It's done. You get a little cleanup surgery in the offseason. I think he'll be fine. I think he plays week 1. I really do. But Brian Branch, that's the one I can't really predict. It's all going to depend on which ACL surgery he had and how bad he tore his ACL. There are situations where guys have come back within 5 months. You look at the running back from the Rams a couple of years ago, whose name is suddenly escaping me, but tore his ACL, was back 5 months later playing in the playoffs. So it can happen, but it just depends again, how bad the tear was, and we'll see where it goes from there. So I did pause the draft because I see a trade up opportunity I'm going to attempt, because I really like Kyle Lewis from Pittsburgh, and I mentioned the Lions getting a linebacker, and I don't think he's going to make it to 155. I really don't. He has fallen a little bit here, but I just don't think he's gonna fall far enough. So we're gonna try. We're gonna try to trade up with the Cleveland Browns here. We're gonna try very hard, and if they say no, then they say no. So we'll offer them that 155th pick, and then to sweeten the pot, we should offer them a 4th round next year. Now, this is a Brad Holmes style move. Brad Holmes, if he likes a guy, he's going to trade. He's going to trade for him. He's going to do it. And I think that this guy is somebody that the Lions like. I know for a fact that they have gone out and seen Pitt play. They've had scouts to watch Pitt play multiple times this year. They're one of the teams that we can confirm they've had scouts at multiple games for. So I think that that's probably for Kyle Lewis. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that the Lions want to trade up. Let's see what they do. All right, we're offering the 155th pick and next year's 4th for 150, and they accepted. All right, there you go. So people might think I'm crazy on that, but I think it was the way to go. We're going to select Kyle Lewis, resume the draft. We're going to select Kyle Lewis, and there's your Alex Anzalone replacement with the 147th pick. the Detroit Lions select Kyle Lewis, linebacker, Pittsburgh. I really like what this guy can bring. He's good in coverage. He has some pass rush ability. He brings a lot to the table, man. And the coverage, though, is really the most important thing that I think Kyle Lewis brings to the table. Is he's sticky. He's really sticky out there, and I just think that he fits a lot of what the Lions want to do with Jack Campbell and Derek Barnes, and the idea that they want to get younger at linebacker. So that's why I felt it was necessary to trade up for him. And, we'll see. All right, let's get to our next pick here. We've got a minute going all the way down to the 203rd pick. What we don't have yet is a cornerback. And Mikhail Kamara, that could have been a little bit of a steal. I would have doubled up on edge if he was sitting there. But let's take a look at the cornerback room. Let's see. Okay, so there's Azilian Hamilton. This is a guy I really like. The Lions kind of like those Fresno State guys. They spent a lot of time there with scouts in previous years. They didn't draft Maurice Norris, but they did. They obviously signed him as an undrafted free agent and had some high hopes for him. It didn't work out. I think Hamilton brings a lot of what Norris can bring with kind of some versatility. He can maybe play a little bit of nickel. He could play outside. He could play some safety. Fresno State kind of make sure that everybody is, has positional versatility. It's something they really like there, and it's something the Lions really like. So I like Hamilton. The other thing is he just played at the Shrine Bowl. And Lions defensive quality control coach Dre Thompson was at the Shrine Bowl coaching DBs. So he had plenty of time to work with Hamilton. I think there's maybe something there. I like Jaden Kennedy from Oregon. I like Jaden Lucas. I've drafted him, mocked him a few times. I like Sierra Wright. Sierra Wright is another guy who had like a really good Shrine Bowl week. Working with Dre Thompson, and that's somebody who I think could definitely go higher. I don't know, he's not going day 2 or day 1 or anything like that, but I think he could maybe work his way into the 4th, the 5th round. So I really like Wright. So at this point, I'm kind of torn between Hamilton and Wright, and I got to go with versatility on this because it really helps the Lions, as you know, because they've had some safety issues and they've had to move guys like Vontae Maddox from cornerback to safety and then safety back to cornerback. And they just like those guys who can do more than one thing. So I'm going to go ahead with the 203rd pick. The Detroit Lions select Azilian Hamilton, cornerback, Fresno State. There it is. It's in the book. It's happened. I'm getting asked out here, did the Pistons sign Malik Beasley to a 10-day contract? I have no idea. As much as I love the Pistons, I don't cover them for a living, so I don't really. And I was at the game last night. No, apparently he has. He just signed with the Oklahoma City Thunder, so he signed a 1-year deal with the Thunder 4 days ago. So no, Beasley is not coming back to Detroit. So there you go. That's your answer on that one. I think. I don't know. No, maybe that's a fake thing. I have no idea, guys. I really don't know. I'm spending too much time on this Malik Beasley thing. I don't know, is my answer. Well, I don't think so. So let's go to our next pick. We got the 211th pick. So we're going to have back-to-back picks here, guys. And you know who's still sitting on the board? That other cornerback I really like, Sierra Wright. So why the hell not? Let's double up on cornerbacks. I mean, you could never have too many cornerbacks. I think that's something that we have learned from this Lions team recently, is having good depth at corner is just invaluable. So with the 211th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Sierra Wright, cornerback, Nebraska. All right, so now we're still on the board at 212. Let's grab another cornerback. No, I'm kidding. Let's see what we got here. Oh man, I really liked a defensive tackle as a possibility, and Cameron Ball is not a bad player. Okay, Zvaxian Harris. I got a bone up on that guy. I don't really know. Albert Regis, Texas A&M. I think Regis might be the way to go. And it's not because I know a ton about him, but it is that I know that the Lions spent some time looking at Texas A&M this year. I think that there's a possibility that maybe, they saw some guys that they liked there. I think for that reason, and at this point, man, in the draft, it's not like we're loaded up with talent. So I am with the 212th pick. The Detroit Lions select Albert Regis, defensive tackle, Texas A&M. All right, we got one pick left, and guys, I already know what I'm going to do with this pick. I made this decision before I even got on here, and we're going to select a quarterback, and his name. With the 222nd pick, the Detroit Lions select Haynes King, quarterback, Georgia Tech. And the reason I do that, it's really simple. Taysom Hill. The Detroit Lions could have their own version of Taysom Hill, and it's not at all crazy to even think about it because where did Dan Campbell come from? The New Orleans Saints. What offense did they have over there that ran a quarterback as a tight end hybrid? It was Taysom Hill. It was in the New Orleans Saints. It was Dan Campbell. He comes from that situation. You could see it in some of the offensive things that they do. I go back to that Chicago game, and they did this more than once, obviously, during the season where they did a direct snap to David Montgomery with the intentions to pass the ball. With Haynes King, you've got a guy who can not only pass the ball, but who can run the ball. He ran for over 900 yards last year. 900 yards, 15 touchdowns. I'm not saying he's never going to start for this team, but he adds a little element to the Lions offense that they just didn't have before. And I just think that's fun. So at the end of the day, here's what we got. TJ Parker, Jennings Dunker, Jelon Kilgore, Kyle Lewis, Azilian Hamilton, Sierra Wright, Albert Regis, and Haynes King. If the Lions walked out with this draft haul, I wouldn't be sad. I don't think anybody should be sad. I think this is a pretty good draft haul for sure. So that is what we've got for that. Let's cancel out the screen. So yeah, that's our mock draft. We're going to be doing these kind of intermittently, maybe once a month type of thing till the draft. We'll do one after free agency. We'll do one after the combine. Maybe just pair up free agency and combine. We'll just do it after that because then we'll know exactly what positions the Lions are going to be looking for in the draft or theoretically looking for in the draft. And then we'll do one closer the week of the draft together, and we'll go from there. But that is going to be today's show. And I appreciate everybody tuning in and having some fun with me doing a little bit of a mock draft. And we'll see you guys on next week's show. And have a good week.